Hello, fellow dragons. It's Shane from Astral Dragon Gaming, and here we are for another review of another game. And this time, it's called Darq. It's a very simple and very easy to understand puzzle game. You're basically a boy that's stuck in a nightmare, but surprisingly, you're not stuck in an asylum, which is the usual trope. You're stuck in a home somewhere and in this continuous loop. The design is really quite Tim Burton sort of design, but at the same time, it has its own quality. The main character actually reminds me of that person who's screaming the eternal scream in that Van Gogh painting. And it's a very creepy individual, but at the same time, you feel for them as you go through this game. This is a pretty simple review that I'm doing because it's not a very long game, but it's a very impactful game. I have to give it that. Graphically, it looks very stop motion clay design in its own right, which is why I said Tim Burton sort of inspired and looking design. And I really do like the overall aesthetics and everything. And it's so mesmerizing watching this character coming along. Oh, before we go on, I do apologize for anyone that's watching and finding it the animations are glitching out and whatnot. I'm having trouble with my computer at the moment with the software. I'm tempted at the moment to sort of pour money into a separate PC for just recording itself while I play games on the main system, but you know, you need more subscribers, you need more money, you need more likes, you need more views, and you either have to do that or get an actual real job in this world. But you know, you live in Australia, you live out in the middle of nowhere, and that's kind of hard to do. So, my gripes, not yours. Anyway, so we're going by how this looks. It is a real pretty game, and it has a lot of sort of standard cinematic sort of tropes. The other thing is the bending and twisting of the space in which you exist inside this game, which is really quite mesmerizing at times. And also that dull whoom sound as you move from one sort of space and everywhere, which is a very deep and bass sound. And even on my spectrograph, as I see it here, it's huge and it hits the real bottom end of your ears. So if you've got a major subwoofer or some headphones with some serious bass in it, you'll know the minute something sort of happens in this game. And that's probably where this game really makes its own call, because it's not a game about solving puzzles, or it's not a game of trying to follow a linear story. It's make your own story up as you go, follow the characters and follow the whole thing and make your own sort of idea and narrative of it. Like for me, it's personally a person dealing with their own internal struggles of life, death, family, and other bits and pieces. And then there's this childlike component that flies around the levels as well, but also this horror component where there's a lot of dismemberment. There's also a lot of other things. So it's got a lot of different levels, this game, and the puzzles are very interesting. That's one thing I love about this game. I've played a lot of puzzle games. Like I started, oh geez, that's telling a story. I think I started in '95 on the PC with my real serious sort of staying to play games. And you know, puzzle games entice me, and this one, because of the verticality and also because the environments can change so drastically on a 90-degree angle at times, your mind has to sort of twist and move to another thing. Like, it's not mind-bending and it's not impossible to finish this game, but at the same time, it's asking you to think differently, not thinking in the same vein as a lot of puzzle games are. It's not a fetch quest, it's not a random generated number thing that you have to find, it's not finding all the clues to fit this one puzzle or anything like that. No, you actually have to figure out the environment. There's one point in this game which I love, and it's a little bit of a spoiler, so if you're getting triggered by that, jump over for the next 20 seconds, but ready? Good. So you basically get turned into a human fuse kit to set off some dynamite, and that is just so unbelievably awesome and weird. It's not funny, it's just fantastic. And that's what this game is all about. It's that mixture of weirdness and familiarity and all these other things, and at the same time, underneath it all, there is a slow growing arc of a desperation to try and get away from this continuous waking nightmare that this character seems to be contained within. And I love that about this game. Now, as I said at the start, it is a very short game, which, you know, well, it happens. Indie games are not designed with huge budget, but cripes, we've seen huge budget games that have just balled it and said, yep, we're doing it really short. And then they charge you like $70, $90 for it. God help the world. But this one's not that bad. It's 28 bucks Aussie. So, what's that US wise? It's 15 US and probably about 12 or 11 pounds. England side. Euro, I still can't get my head around the conversion rate for that. But yeah, it's not an overly expensive game. But it's a game that you're going to invest some time in. And I think what's the sort of hook for this game is the actual animation and the way that you interact with the environment. Because in one space you're going to be using a device that basically turns you on all four axes of a street. So you're going to have to look on both sides of the street, but you're still dealing in a 2D environment. And the guys that have done the animation here, they've really done a 2D to 2.5D design so well, especially the motion of your character as it moves from the foreground to the background or going from the ceiling to the floor. It looks so artistic, it's cinematic, it's just an extraordinary thing. And when they combat it with the sounds, the music and everything like that, the whole game just becomes this real orchestra of interesting things that just, it's hard to describe unless you've played it. And even the recording just doesn't do it justice. This game is a head scratcher at times, but it's also a very intriguing story, and I think it's well worth it for anyone that's a puzzle game person out there, and anyone that's not, well, you know, it's got a great sort of atmosphere. If you are scared of things like, say, Little Nightmares or something like that, you will find this game deathly scary, because some of the puzzles will happen instantaneous and they require you to change your perspective. Like, there's one puzzle where you're trying to do it and it changes to the perspective behind you, and you've still got to try and do the puzzle as it's sort of happening, and it's so scary and so tense as you're doing that. And when you get that sort of tonal quality that changes the entire situation with just the sort of drop of a mic idea with the sound, and it's just, oh god, something's coming, I'm going to die. And that's what you feel. And it's great how they've managed to give you that feeling of emotion, that feeling of trap and isolation, and also that feeling of being in a nightmare. And that's what this game feels like, and it's really good. It's not going to leave you in tears or leave you with nightmares or anything like that, but at the same time, it's going to have that effect that it's supposed to have, that sensation of living in another character's life and understanding what that life is, regardless of what perspective you're taking it from. So anyway, that's been my review. I thank you very much for coming along and watching. I hope you pick this game up because it's a good game, and I think the developers should really be commended, and I would love to see their next piece of work. It's just a lovely piece of work, and it's so, yeah, it's just so enticing just watching that character walking around. They got the walking animation down, they got that creep factor from a lot of the other characters, and that motion, and then you got the soundtrack and the sounds and everything, and it's just so well done. A great package all up. Other than that, do you want to give me a review, or do you want to give me a comment, or hit the subscribe button, or the like button? You know, because I want to get another PC at some point, or I just want to develop more and get bigger. I want to talk to people about games. Especially No Man's Sky. I was talking to my housemate, and I was really enjoying just talking to someone about games. I just don't do that enough nowadays, and I really would like to have that sort of interaction. But anyway, I've been talking your ear off for long enough, and if you've come to the end of the review by now and you're hearing me ramble, you are a credit and a treasure. Thank you so much. And I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.